It's the corruption and the fall of humanity that's in full operation and full view of why Jesus Christ came into the matrix, why he told us we're in a prison house, why he told us humanity was a fallen race and had dire need of redemption, had to be reborn. It's all right here in front of your face as to what is wrong with humanity. And that Satan is in fact and in truth an overlord of humanity. It's on full display in Washington, D.C. It's a microcosm of everything going wrong on the world and in the world. Humanity is imploding upon itself because it has to. That's essentially the warning of the Lord. You're in a prison house, you're lawless, you're fallen, and there is no escape. And Jesus said, I alone have the key to escape. Humanity has given the Lord the finger. The Christians, by and large, with very few exceptions, have given the Lord the finger. Oh yes, we love you and we're going to do exactly what you say. And then they delete everything he said. Thus death and hell awaits. A nation that forgets God is turned into hell. You're going to watch the descent. I don't know how long the Lord leaves his people here. My own guess is not for too long. But we're going to witness some awful things before we get out of here. And I don't know what to say to the American people. Nobody listens anymore anyway. We're being shadow banned just about everywhere we go. We're fighting a losing fight. Most people, most ministries out there are not telling you the truth. I'm not trying to stir up trouble. I'm just trying to point out all you have to do is go to their website and look at how a person is saved. And all it is a simple prayer. There is no such thing in the Bible. Absolutely no such thing. And I've tried to point that out. If anybody can find it, show me, and I'll recant. The other issue is that Matthew belongs to the Jewish people. It has nothing to do with the Christians. Evidently, that's pretty deeply rooted now. If that were true, Jesus was talking about entering into the kingdom of heaven in Matthew, for example, chapter 7. Entering into the kingdom of heaven was the sole, basically, the reason for Matthew. So if Matthew belongs in the Old Testament, it's written to the Jews, what about the Gospel of John? Are we going to then say that the Gospel of John was written for the Jews only? Doesn't John talk about entering into the kingdom of heaven? I think so. Doesn't Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Paul, Book of Revelation, aren't they all about entering into the kingdom of heaven? How dare these people? It's like flat earthers. Folks, these are all psyops operations of the king Satan, the overlord. That's what all this is about. It's deceptions. Jesus told you what to do. If you won't do it, your problem. If you won't believe it, your problem. If you want to delete everything Jesus Christ said, your problem. It's not his problem. I have often used this thing about a professor who has 100 people in his class, or 1,000 people in his class. And on the first day of the class, he says to them, "This is a very tough class. However, if you run into trouble, come see me, but you're going to have to study. You're going to have to burn the midnight oil, or you're not going to pass. And if you run into trouble, come and see me, and we'll try and figure out where your mind is blocked, and we'll unblock it, and so that you can understand what this is about. But if you're going to go out and party and carry on and drink beer, and you're not going to pay attention to what I've just warned you, then you're going to flunk." So at the end of the class, 900, we'll say there's 1,000 people in there, 999 of them flunk. One passed. Whose fault is it? Well, Jesus Christ is the professor. He told you to enter in at the straight gate, walk the narrow way. That's the tough class. Instead, you went out partying and carrying on, and you did not believe what he had to say. You flunk. Flunking is a very serious condition when it comes to heaven and hell. People ought to take note of that. Anyway, I have to tell the truth, and I know the truth is hated, and I know that this ministry basically is wrapping it up because there just is, I don't know. I know from what I see posted here and there and everywhere through the years that the whole concept of what Jesus said has been utterly and totally redacted and destroyed. And I guess that's the way it is. And many times I have gotten comments from people over the years not interested in anything but the news. The news, my friend, is not going to save you. The news is of the matrix. Your whole entire life is supposed to get you out of the matrix. That's what the frequency books are all about. They're about proving the matrix, proving it's a prison house, proving you're blind, miserable, naked, and proving that what Jesus Christ said in Matthew, in Mark, in Luke, and in John, he meant exactly what he said. He meant exactly what he said and why he said it. It's just too bad that people can't get their minds wrapped around this kind of thing, but they can't. And I can't lose any sleep over it. I sleep pretty well at night. I've given you the information. Your blood is not on my hands, as I have said before. And I'm not going to accept any fault for it. For the life of me, I cannot understand why, if you believe that you are saved by faith and belief alone, why would you be picking on people who want to take a bigger walk? They already have faith and they already have belief, and therefore, according to you folks, they're already saved. Why are you picking on them then for wanting to go on a deeper, more profound walk? And if you can't answer that, better shut up. End of story. So anyway, folks, all of this is diversionary tactics of Satan to keep you from getting out of the matrix. You have no idea how difficult it is to get out of the matrix. Faith and belief are only a dynamic verb, an action. Get out of the matrix. How do I get out of the matrix? Enter in at the straight gate. Walk the narrow way unto life. Few there be that find it. We don't want to hear that. We just flat don't want to hear anything like that. Well, whether we want to hear it or not is totally immaterial. It's totally immaterial. It doesn't matter. Reality is what reality is. And we prove in the series Matrix that what Jesus said is absolutely proven by science itself. In fact, I believe science proves Jesus Christ himself. They just don't realize it. They just don't know it. But what they're finding out about quantum physics, fields, the law of thermodynamics, the law of homogenesis, all of this proves precisely what Jesus Christ had to say. Why he came here. And he alone. And why, actually, he alone has the keys to death, hell, and heaven.